It is a new year. Well, it's a new day every time we get up. But the fact that we have started a new year, 2023, there are those who subscribe to making New Year's resolutions, some who don't. But in reality, only 8% of people who make them keep them. So that's our discussion tonight. Should you make New Year's resolutions, or what do you do in the space of positive affirmations of speaking it, naming it, and claiming it? Hello, I'm Pamela Marshall with the majestic view from Gainesville, Florida.
Am I next? Or is it
Yeah,
Kira?
let's go that way. Let's go that way.
Okay. Okay. I'm Leah Miller, also Leah World Traveler. I am interested in this topic because I do a lot of reflection every year at the beginning of the year. And we'll talk more about this later, but historically I did used to set goals and I used to sort of lay out what I wanted to do for a given year, but I don't do that anymore. And I'm happy to share and talk more about why I no longer do that. But again, I'm Leah Miller, Leah World Traveler with a majestic view from Jamestown, Rhode Island.
And I'm Zakir Muhammad, and I am like New Year's resolution. Who? What? And I have a different view, a majestic view over here from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Thank you, ladies. If this is your first time joining us on our Majestic View YouTube channel, we invite you to subscribe, like, share, and we'd love to hear your comments. We'd also love to hear from you if you'd like to be a guest on the Majestic View. This is a show with thought leaders from across the country, and Leah, World Traveler, will on some days join us from another continent. So, these views, ladies, about this New Year's resolution. Now, I used to make them, and then I don't know if I'd get out of January before I'd already forgotten what I said I was going to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's a large part about why I stopped doing it too, because I always went into the new year with good intentions. I always approached it as, the wipe has been, or the slate has been wiped clean and I can start anew, start fresh. But life has a way of kind of taking over best laid plans. And I would often forget what I had committed to, or I would do it anyway without the reminder of the resolution, or I ended up pivoting and having other things that became interesting to me. So I decided I would hang up New Year's resolutions as a practice.
Yeah, and for me, I think what I started to do is I would beat myself up or get disappointed if I don't meet my New Year's resolution. And to avoid having my own heartbreak, I was just like, no more New Year's resolutions for me.
Well, part of, I guess, the feeling, because we are in a new year, and Leah, as you said, wiping the slate clean. But in reality, don't we have that opportunity every day?
Yes, we do. And that's why I kind of think it's arbitrary to just say you have a New Year resolution. I think if you truly want to resolve to do something, you don't have to wait for the start of a new year to do it. I think it's just a convenient sort of placeholder because, it's a new calendar year. So it's easier to sort of peg your hopes to that. It's sort of officially starting a new year. But yeah, I think if people want to do things, then they'll do them at any time. And I have a quick example. I decided that I wanted to live a healthier lifestyle. I didn't wait until January 1st to do it. I started within a few days of making that decision because, my health isn't going to get any better the longer I wait. So I just sort of started that and I've continued to do that. But when it comes to making a commitment to myself, I do spend time sort of during the holiday period and early in January reflecting on how I want to grow and develop as a person in a given year. I try to let go of things that I can't change or previous year's baggage, which is not always easy to do. But for some reason, just having that sort of visioning process and sort of introspective process, the things that I want to do stay with me. They sit within my spirit and stay in my mind, even if sometimes they're back of mind, but it's always there with me. So this desire for me to have a healthier lifestyle, I'm still doing those things. And I'm going to continue to do them in the new year.
Well, I think that's really a good point about deciding if it's something that's good for you to do, just go ahead and start doing it and not wait for the new year. On the other end of the spectrum, for me, I I try to eat healthy, but I have given myself permission from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day to eat the stuff of my childhood. And, and this year, oh my goodness, I ate a whole pecan pie. I had one slice left, and I asked my husband if he would please eat that slice so I could not say that I
That you
ate
ate
a
the
whole
whole.
pecan pie. Yeah, but he didn't eat it, and I did.
Mhm.
And the consequences are on the scale. And so what I am trying to say to myself, I can't eat the cream cheese pound cake that my mother used to make in honor of my mother because my mother did die from high blood pressure and heart disease.
Mhm.
So it doesn't make sense for me to honor my mother by doing the very things that caused her to have poor health. So I am saying to myself in 2023, I will release the notion that I have a pass from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day to do crack. Because when is it a good time to do crack?
Never. Absolutely never.
So to your point, if it's not good for you, it's not good for you anytime. Sakira, so the things that you said that you would beat yourself up about, because many times what we make New Year's resolutions about health, finances, um, personal things. What were the things that you would beat yourself up about?
Well, believe it or not, I am super ambitious, and mine are like goals, either monetary goals or travel goals. Like I've always put it on. Now I'm starting to use the word intention. Let me be more intentional and use the
Mhm.
sense of intentionality. But previously, I would say this is the year that I'm going to go to the Super Bowl, or this is the year that I'm going to go to any one of the major sporting events that I've always wanted to go to. And so every year I put it on my calendar. I take a look at the tickets. I work and save hard for the tickets, and then it just doesn't happen. So I think those are the kind of experiences that I tend to kind of beat myself up over.
And that is a challenge. And imagine you're making a commitment to do something that is good for you, and then it becomes a mental autoimmune challenge. And so
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. You have children there. What's happening?
yes, I'm an auntie.
Leah's like,
Sorry. I sure am, and they know the closed door, but it really is just notional in my household. But at least she gave me good news because our dishwasher was malfunctioning earlier and now it's fixed. So that's what she wanted to tell me.
and she's probably happy about that too.
She is because it means she doesn't have to do the dishes. So that's mostly why she was excited. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyway, sorry about that.
No need to be sorry about it. I'm glad the dishwasher is working and not
Me
leaking.
too. Oh my goodness, me too. I was getting worried.
Yeah.
Speaking of the children, how would you be more intentional this year when it comes to family?
That's a good question. And I'm glad you brought it up because that's actually one of the things that I have in my mind is that I'm in a position this year while I'm based in Rhode Island and in a position where I don't have the same level of responsibility that I typically do in my job, that I want to put my family first. And as you say, Zakira, be more intentional in terms of my presence and being present. Because for me, presence doesn't just mean physically being in the same house with my kids. It means like actually being there with them in the moment and not in my phone or on a phone call or, I'm on this laptop and my son and daughter are on their other computers and we're sitting in the same room physically, but we're not interacting with one another. So for me, one of the intentions that I have committed to, and this was also not at New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, but what I committed to on New Year's Day is a continuation of this previous decision that I made, which is that this year I want to be much more present and much more active in their lives because I don't have the same time constraints that I typically have when I'm like in my full job since I'm in a training year this year. I do have that freedom and flexibility, and I don't want to regret later on down the line looking back. And yes, on the one hand, I might be proud of the accomplishments that I make in my career, but at what cost?
Mm.
And to me, it's not worth it. My family is my family, and I tell myself that I work for them. So now's my time to be with them. So that is one of my intentions slash goals slash resolutions, I guess, is that I just want to be more present and active in their lives.
Well, I like the intention part too. Making resolutions that are not necessarily attached to the year, as was pointed out, but these things that are good ideas that we have for positive results. And can we talk about the optimism that we have about achieving certain goals because it is a new year? And then how can we transfer that optimism to our daily lives? Because that's what happens. You know, 22 is behind us. Now we're in 2023. And, all of the things that have happened over the last 2.5 years with the pandemic, with political things that have happened, then I won't name any names, I promise. But, um, people, how do we move from just waiting for 365 days to pass? And then all of a sudden we're optimistic. How do we move that into a daily part of our lives?
Well, I want to go first on that because I've literally been asking myself that. For example, I just celebrated a birthday in a new decade, and that day alone was so like loving and fulfilling and full of joy. And I was like, how can I keep that going? And I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I wanted to be even more intentional about was journaling, or I think I had like a set music playlist that I listened to, even if luckily on my actual birthday nobody was stressing me out. But in the moments that I do have moments of stress out, I'm like, let me just put on this specific dance playlist. Let me just journal this specific day. Let me go back to that day where it was nothing but joy. So I think for me, for that, it's music and journaling, right? And being creative, utilizing the arts.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's just because, it's the start of a new year. So that sort of gives you the feeling of like opportunity and optimism and something new. And it gives you a chance to shed the old and shed the baggage and the stuff that you don't want to carry. And I think it's just what comes with the start of any new year. It's obviously psychological because it's like no other different day. It could be any random day. But I think it's just the value that we assign to it. And it's sort of what we've all been taught. Like it's the new year, you can do new things, you can be the new you can do whatever you want. And as you both have said, I mean, that can really happen anytime. You just have to decide that you want to do something different, or you have something you'd like to accomplish, or something that you don't necessarily want to do, but something you want to stop doing. But I think just the hard, tangible start of something new just makes it easier to sort of visualize and have something to focus that optimism and hope on. Because I think if nothing else is true about humanity, we thrive on hope. We thrive on
Yeah.
dreams. Our day-to-day lives can be really challenging. We've all faced trials. We will face more trials in the future, but we need something to look forward to. And so I think that's why we put a lot of hope and have optimism about new opportunities in the new year.
So, Zakira, you just had a birthday
I did.
in
December
December. Yeah.
2022.
So, Leah, when's your birthday?
In February.
February. So, you have one coming up. My
Yep.
birthday is in July. And I
Oh,
have thought about that particular day because we all should feel special on that day, right?
absolutely. That's your day.
That's our day on the calendar. One young lady that I've worked with, I would be talking to her, and her daughter, her 3-year-old, would be singing happy birthday. She said she's just stuck on that song. And
So
every day she just gets up, she wants to sing happy birthday. And I said, well, what did she just say? She's like, oh, she wants me to put on my hat. And I was like, well, put it on. Put it on.
Aw,
What if we got up every day and we said, it's
exactly.
my birthday?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm
It's
thinking
a
about Diana
choice.
Ross. What was it? Diana Ross was being awarded on one of the music award shows, and it wasn't her actual birthday, but that's what she kept saying in between the songs that she was performing. It's my birthday, and it was like her
Aw,
daughter Tracy Ellis Ross was like it was. She did it 2 months before her actual birthday, but it's like, hey, whatever you want, mama, right? She's made it almost seven decades, so why not every single day? It is your
exactly.
birthday.
Right, right. And so, interesting that you said that. And it's not like this was a planned anything. I keep this prop by my workspace.
Love
And
it.
there are times when I have to look down and remind me that it is my birthday today and I'm going to be happy today.
Mhm. I appreciate that you say that, Pamela, because I also believe that happiness is a choice. Joy is a choice. it's so easy to get stuck and like hang on to the things that don't serve us, negativity, toxicity, stress. Another part about human nature is that it's always easy to see the negatives and harder to see the positives sometimes. It's easier to whine and complain about things than it is to have to face something and overcome it, because that means you got to put in the work. But one of my intentions or things that I want to do this year is to try to choose joy and happiness each day, because I really am at a point now where I just feel like life is too short to waste any time on
Yeah.
things that don't serve me. And it doesn't have to be anything major. It just could be like I wake up grumpy. I have to fix that because there's no reason for it. Maybe I'm sleepy, but that doesn't mean I have to be grumpy. It just means go to bed earlier that night. But I think that my worldview and the way that I want to approach my life and the decisions that I make and how I spend my time is always going to be with the focus of how does it serve me? How can I find joy in this? How can this serve someone else and find the happiness and make every day feel like a birthday? Because I want to enjoy this precious thing that we have, which is our lives. And I don't want to waste time on stuff that either one, I can't change, or two, is out of my control anyway. So why worry about it?
Yeah, and what's coming up for me is how to integrate that into the health goals, right?
Absolutely.
I firmly believe health is wealth. I mean, I'm a cancer survivor, and really the main reason why I've been able to survive this far is because of health, because of the health choices that have been made, and knowing the difference between those happy foods, those foods from our childhood, and the foods that actually nourish not just us, but our hearts and our souls and our minds too. So yeah.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
and the foods, talking about foods that we eat and how we feel after we eat the food. If you eat something and you have to take a Tums afterwards,
Yeah.
your body is telling you something, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
If what you are putting in your mouth is causing your heart to burn, don't
Yeah.
put it in your mouth anymore.
Exactly.
Unlike someone else who said, my doctor said that I was having this challenge. I was like, well, don't you have a pill for it? It's like, no, don't look for a pill. And that's why we are where we are in our health and our wealth and our lives, because we just want a pill to take that's going to cause other challenges because we took that pill for this. And, go ahead and have your pig feet. No, you can't do that. It's not a good idea. When we get up in the morning, because this resolution, this intentionality, this consciousness that we're talking about, ladies, is so inexpensive yet priceless.
Exactly.
And as you've pointed out, our emotions are a choice. And I would like for people to think about, I mean, how many emotions are there? It's not that
Infinite.
many of them.
This many.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not even half.
it's not even that many.
Actually,
Yeah.
how many emotions are there, and how many people know how to articulate those emotions?
Hmm.
Well, and to recognize that they're just different vessels that will come to us to evoke them.
And also there's like layers in emotion. And I think there's a certain complexity to it because as human beings, and I'll speak for myself personally, I have the ability to feel multiple emotions at the same time. And so it's like, which ones do I choose to give space to versus others? Like in the back of my mind, there's always the list of stuff that I have to do, things that I didn't accomplish, things that I need to get done, responsibilities that could cause me stress. But I choose to enjoy the moment that I'm in with you ladies right now, enjoy this conversation. It's blessing me. I hope that it will bless others. And so I'm able to kind of quiet the noise of all the other things that I'm feeling in my
Mhm.
mind. And that's conscious. I'm choosing to do that instead of just sort of sitting here idly and like letting that little voice in my head be like, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. And the dishwasher may not be 100% fixed. You better go check on that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just here with you two. And that's part of, it goes back to Zakira's point and the one you started to make, Pamela, about health. It's also about mental health. And
Sure.
I think everything flows from that, from the decisions we make, there's always an action and a reaction. So I'm going to choose to not act on those feelings that I have of things that I've got to do and that feeling of overwhelm and being in like a whirlwind, and just try to be much more present. It goes back to my overall goal of just presence, and positive presence is what I'm focusing on this year.
Now, speaking of positive presence, what are you being intentional about this year? With we're all entrepreneurs and creatives and business owners in here. So, what are
Mhm.
you being intentional about this year in your creative business?
Go ahead,
Well,
Pamela. I'll go
yeah,
next.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I'm being intentional, I promise you, this food thing is really a big thing for me because I like to cook. And it is the holidays when I do a major spread. I could share screen and show you the table. And I
Okay, we're
know
gonna
how
have
to
to do a
do
cooking show with you in the future. Just saying. Let's put a
I
thumbnail in there.
look,
Exactly.
I'm trying to figure out how to make dressing without wheat.
Mm.
As I said to my son one year, we're not gonna have dressing because we're not eating bread anymore. He was like, "What?
Mm,
Dressing is not bread. Dressing is dressing.
Mhm.
I need my dressing." And it's so
Yep,
good.
it is so good.
So I think as we get focused on one aspect of our lives, it will move over to other aspects. And for me, it really is about my plate. Um,
Mhm.
I am currently weighing the most that I've ever weighed in my entire life based on the
Mhm.
scale that I was on this morning. And, I wanted to jump off a 2 foot box, nothing higher than that, because it's like, this is too close to another number.
Mhm.
And that is completely within our control. And the way we age, the way we move to the next 10 years and the next 10 seconds, to think that we have it completely in our hands on our plates. And I've been listening to conversations and stories about people who reversed diabetes, who reversed high blood pressure, who reversed um, autoimmune diseases simply by correcting the plate. And I know, Sakura, you're a vegetarian, and we're going to do a show on that.
well, more vegan because I will have fish sometimes.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, okay.
Maybe pescatarian.
Well, I want to look at eating raw. I mean,
Mhm.
not raw meat, but just
Yes.
raw, period. And maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do a show on that, and I'll show you some of my mono meals. I think that's the right term, where that's all you eat, which I can
Oh,
do
like
that
the
with
one
all, with,
one meal a day?
nope, just one thing.
Oh,
Like watermelon. I can just eat a whole watermelon,
I
and that's a
mean,
meal. Or
That's
it
good.
is.
throughout the day.
Yeah, that is the topic we're going to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, y'all. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. And how do you do it? How do we be intentional about our health, especially as women of color? And we are putting the food on the table for our families. So that's one of the things that I really want to do. And then also, of course, the art of forgiveness, the book, the online course that I'm working on. I think as my food choices are better, my mental health is better, and I'm better
Absolutely.
able to do all of those other things that I say that I need to do. So that's my goal for 2023.
I love it. I have a few that I've been ruminating about. Nothing I've written down because I don't do that anymore. But I will do them because it's in my mind and it's resting in my spirit now. So I'm with you also, Pamela. I don't like what I'm seeing on the scale. This is for me, I'm like the biggest that I've been. And I'm always happy in my body. I feel healthy. I'm blessed to have health, but it could be a little smaller number on the scale. So I am also like committing and I have been committing for the last, I'd say about 2 months, really committing to eating a little bit better, which I still need to do work on. So I'm looking forward to your cooking shows. But also just physical movement. So, I'm trying to get to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, even if it's just to ride on one of the stationary bikes or an elliptical or just doing stretching, a spinning class, anything that I can just get my body moving because I enjoy it and I like the way that I feel afterwards. Sometimes it's like a real true struggle to get myself going and motivated to get in there, but I always am so glad that I do when I'm done and I feel the change in my body,
Mhm.
in terms of my flexibility, my breathing, my stamina in general. I like the way it makes me feel. I also feel like it's like those little small goals. So it's like, okay, I made it to the gym today. So that was a good day. I don't have to have these big pie in the sky things like I'm going to lose 40 pounds or something like that. I know that maybe that's the destination, but I want to focus on the journey and enjoy like the small little successes that I have. So, if I make it through a day and I drink enough water, then that's a good day. I'm
Yeah.
trying to really take it down to very simple steps because that's really how I form habits and really form the things that will change my life. So in terms of my health, it's about, eating better and more consistent exercise. And so I'm on that path and I'm on that journey. And I'm hoping by the summer, maybe I'll see some results when I start doing my world traveling thing again. On the professional side, I do have some big goals this year, things that I want to do in both of my sort of main areas of work. For my writing, I want to start my children's book series. I've already done a manuscript for one story. So I want to really spend time on that and move it to the next level because it's been sitting with me for about 5 years now. And it's time for me to stop sitting there and just do it. So this is the year for that. No excuses. So that's the big thing for me. And then my other goal is for writing is that I want to try to get published in at least 2 new national publications. I don't know which ones those are just yet, but that's my goal. And I
With
think
your travel stories?
anything could be my travel stories. It could be about parenting, could be about relationships, could be about leadership, anything. But I'm looking for, publications that are on the national scale because I feel like that's where my writing is going to. It's going towards a more broader kind of publications and sort of some of the more niche things that I've done. So I really want to see what could come of that if I really put the effort and time into it. And then the last thing, and I think I already mentioned this a little bit more, is with friends and family. I just want to be there. I just want to be present, and I'm trying to do that. So it's not always easy when, as we discussed the other day, being in the sandwich generation, which I am very much in, and being, full-time mom and full-time student again at this point. But it's again, back to what I said earlier about choices. So I'm choosing to put those things first and prioritize those things first before everything else.
I love that.
And,
I'm
and
glad
so,
you
Kira, before you do
Yeah.
yours, I just want to say that we're going to do a show too on bathroom exercises. Because
Mm,
I do some of the
yeah. And also at your desk.
at your desk, but you're going to take a break when you go to the bathroom. And if they
Mhm.
knock on the door, you can just say, "I'm not finished,"
Yeah.
and do 15 squats.
Yep.
You can do some wall push-ups.
Exactly.
If you're in a bathroom if you're at home in the bathroom, you can get on the floor and do whatever push-up you can do, which is such a full body
Mhm.
exercise. A back bend. You don't have to go down and push up or all the way down, but just stretching.
Yeah. Exactly.
So so
I
yeah,
always try to take the stairs too. Like, I mean, most of us don't have elevators in our homes. So, I mean, if you're in a house that has a set of stairs, make yourself go up and down 10 times that day.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
something, it could be as simple as that.
yeah. So good goal to have there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, mine is slightly different. Of course,
Mhm.
health and wealth is what we're talking about regardless, and it's going to be incorporated regardless because my goal is to travel. I do also want to get back to international travel. I have not. We crossed the border to Mexico through car in 2021, but we turned right back around. So it's not like I got to be with the culture, take some photo with the culture, and be creative. But travel is big on my goal. But obviously, in order to be able to travel, I definitely need to maintain my health and my wealth. But I've always had it on my heart as well. Actually, almost 10 years now to go to Kenya. So
Mm.
um,
It's
some
time.
doors have been opening. I've been making some connections on Instagram, but that's one of my big goals. So we're back to international travel, international creativity, um, and back to Africa.
So
Yay.
we've been talking about these resolutions and intentionality as opposed to resolutions per se. But how important do you ladies, think it is to say it out loud? This intentionality that can contribute to the fulfillment. How important is it to say it out loud?
I think it's important. I think it's very important because it kind of gives voice to the goal. Sometimes I think if it just sits in your mind, it just doesn't germinate in the same way than when you say it out loud, because in a way that kind of makes it real. because you're hearing it, you're voicing it, and maybe you're manifesting what you want to have happen. So I do think it's important to just go through the exercise of either saying it out loud, or a lot of people believe in doing vision boards. I have a lot of friends who really wholeheartedly believe in that, and they do it every year. And I really respect that, because it's like they are literally laying out a visual path of the things they want to achieve. And then it's always something that they can look back to when they feel like they're slipping or falling from the things that they want to achieve. It's just a good reminder to bring you back and put you back on track of, pursuing those things that you want to do. So I think it's very important to kind of make your goals and intentions tangible. And one really good way to do it is to just name it, say it out loud,
Yeah.
speak its name, and then make it happen.
I think it was the Erykah Badu quote that said, the power to the pen, something. I have to get the actual quote, but she said something on the lines of, writing it down is, putting power to the pen. And I believe that. I mean, also taking action as well, because you have to tell people all of these dreams don't happen by yourself. You have to tell people, and especially talking to the people where you're like, hey, I want to go to Kenya. Oh, okay, cool. I know this person, so then it starts to actually manifest. So
Yeah, it gives it life.
Mhm.
I think as the scriptures say, the power of life and death is in the tongue. And when we think about um, how things are created and our words, if you think about our words being vibrations,
Mm.
the study that's been done on water and what images are created in water when certain words are said. A Japanese doctor did a study on that. And so, if we believe that these positive words can create, it's not only creating in the atmosphere, but it's also setting the blueprint in our psyche, in our DNA, that will help propel us. And perhaps, as you were saying about Kenya, you say that you want to go to Kenya. Who knows who you're saying that to, that has a connection to help get you there faster than if you just kept it to yourself. So we encourage all of you, say what you want. As my mother used to say, a closed mouth will not get fed.
Yes. Facts.
Absolutely. Speaking of a closed mouth not getting fed, if you have speaking engagements or media platforms or telling your story on your vision board or in your intention for 2023, send an email to themajesticviewshow@gmail.com and be a guest. Especially if you are a person of color, especially if you are in the tech industry, you talk about all things lifestyle and talk about all things tech. We can't wait to have you.
Absolutely. I really have enjoyed spending time with you all this afternoon, this evening, wherever time zone you're in. It's been a pleasure being able to collaborate, being able to share this moment with you all. It is so special to me, and I hope it's special to all of those who are watching as well. The breath, the breath as we are being intentional. I leave with you to be conscientious about your inhales and exhales, and be conscientious about how you're using your breath and the vibration of your voice.
For me, my wish for everyone, and myself included, is to just choose happiness, choose joy, choose yourself, and focus on the small wins on the way to the big ones. Because it's really all about the journey and less about the destination. So for 2023, my wish for you is that you choose joy.
And my wish for you is for you to get smart with your goals. And I'm the acronym SMART too. So however you want to receive that, but get smart and continue to be intentional with your goals.
Thank you all for watching. If you are watching for the first time, please subscribe and share this. It is our goal to help raise the bar through our conversations, through our voices, and through the example of the lives that we live. And we thank you for being a part of our journey on the Majestic View. We look forward to seeing you next week on our YouTube channel and other social media platforms. Take care. Enjoy the moments